morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Melbourne, Australia. And today I am going to be taking my first play with this online exclusive stamp set called Resourceful Rusty. And you know I'm a sucker for cute critters, and my younger child, adult child, is extremely enamored of squirrels, which we don't have here in Australia, but she grew up with squirrels, and or they grew up with squirrels. I'm still working on that. Sorry, Nick. And so I had to get this set. It does not have coordinating dies, so there's going to be some plastic cutting today, which is just fine. Let's get stuck into this. So I've done a lot of thinking as we're getting ready to transition to this new catalog, which means there's a bunch of stuff that's going to go on to the last chance list. There's a bunch of stuff in my stash that's going to go on to the last chance list. I know there's a bunch of stuff in everybody's list, in everybody's stash that has been discontinued or retired, and you still have it. And all of us are facing all kinds of economic challenges in this time. So I'm really, I'm pretty thrifty. I've always been thrifty. I've always told you if I thought something that Stampin' Up! Sells isn't a particularly good value for money, either because it wasn't particularly a useful item, or it didn't work well, or you could get something else as a better deal. And this year I've decided that I love a lot of the new stuff that's coming out, but I love a lot of the stuff that's retiring too. So I'm really going to be making an effort to show you how you can selectively add some new things that you really like, but keep using stuff that's in your stash because you already own it. And it maybe makes you feel guilty, or maybe makes you feel like you can't buy anything new because you have so much stuff that you're not using because it's not brand new and shiny. So one of the things that I have found useful in doing this is I found this series of paper busting templates. I've focused on the 6x6. She's got all kinds of series for 12x12 as well, all kinds of things. It's at jesscrafts.com. And I really like them. I had an idea of what I knew I wanted to use this set. I knew I wanted to use multiple images. I knew I wanted to use up some designer series paper. So I went through, this is a set of 50 different templates, and I started just by paging through different layouts that I thought looking for layouts that I thought might work well with using multiple images. So I thought about putting multiple images on that panel. I thought about, did I want to put 3 images and maybe put them on these 3 circles? But I landed on this one, and that's the one I decided to use. And I like those. I could keep them in a binder and page through them when I want to. But this template, it takes one 6x6 and cuts it down, and it says it makes 3 cards. And she gives you the size of the DSP pieces and then what to mat them with to make this suggested layout. Obviously, you can arrange those however you want. But I'm going to be doing one of these, but I'll cut this so that it makes enough to make the 3 cards. And I'll show you this version, and I may make 2 more just like it, and I may change it up a bit. I don't know yet. This is as far as I've gotten this morning. So this is going to be a full-on, starting from almost scratch. And if you're watching on replay, feel free to scroll through if it's taking longer than you want to watch me do such fun things as color with Stampin' Blends or cut paper. And if you're watching live, I hope you'll stick with me and chatter with me as best I can. Good morning, Paula and Gladys. Thanks for joining me from North America. If you are joining me either from North America or from Australia live, please say hello. If you're watching on replay from anywhere, please leave a comment and let me know. I'm not deliberately not addressing folks in Europe, but I know you're not watching me live at this hour, so unless you have insomnia, in which case please do say hello. I'd love to be proven wrong. So there's my 6x6. I went with the 6x6 because you can always cut down 12x12 to 6x6. That's why I focused there. And now I will cut this down the way she says. It's 1.5 by 2 inches. Hers is all in inches. She's designed it for half a sheet of letter cardstock, or what we call A2 in the United States, card front. I found that these layouts work just fine on our half of an A4 sheet cardstock. These A2 and A4 from North America and the rest of the world, they aren't the same. Don't let that throw you. So this is a really simple grid that we're cutting. So it's 1.5 by 2. So there's 1.5. And DSP is thin enough you can stack up and cut multiples. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and that should leave us with a fourth 1.5. By 2. And 2, and that makes us 3 cards worth. So I'm going to set that aside because I did go ahead this morning and make my mats, and she said 1 3/4 by 2.25 inch mats, and the designer series paper is supposed to be Highland Heather, and I made some gorgeous grape mats for them. So I am just going to go ahead and glue those on and have those set. I love the bright colors. This is the Zinnia's designer series paper. The suite has been on the last chance list for several months, and I believe the whole thing is now discontinued, retired, at least in the South Pacific. The new way Stampin' Up! Has of doing stuff with the last chance list is that it becomes discontinued or retired in your market when it sells out in your market. So if you're in North America or Europe, your mileage may vary on its status, but it is on its way out. But I like, on the B side, I really like a lot of the clean design and the bright colors, so I've been using bits of it up. So there are those 4. And sometimes the hardest thing when you're doing a fairly clean and simple layout like that one is just getting the alignment right, which is because it does tend to stand out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this a bit. Actually going to turn that over. And you may wonder why I do that sometimes. As much as I try to get it exactly in the middle, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes there's just a little lip on one side, and if I put that on the front, you don't see it, and it makes it easier to open the card. I'm going to try laying these out a little bit so I get a really good look at it. So you can see she's got it really evenly spaced on this card front. The metric card fronts on the A4 card base are longer and a bit skinnier, so it's not going to lay out exactly the same way, but I am going to try to get it straight and even. which I may or may not be able to do here today. And I'm just taking a moment to check it in my calendar because the taller perspective helps me see it a bit. There's a little bit of a lag with the internet. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm wondering if I can use my press and seal or whether that's just going to mess it all up. But let's try it. If you don't know press and seal, it is a Glad product, easily available in North America, a little more challenging to get in the South Pacific. Last I knew, in New Zealand, you can get it at Countdown stores, but for some reason, your sister store, Woolworths, does not carry it. So in Australia, multi-packs at Costco or from some of the online craft stores, and I suppose Amazon might have it. I haven't checked there recently. Because when I was back in the US, well, first of all, I'm still using up a roll I had, and when I was back in the US, I got a second roll. Actually, I got a couple rolls. So I haven't checked availability here so much. Okay, so let's take those off and add some glue. We'll see if I regret this. Oh, but so the Glad press and seal, it's got kind of like Post-it adhesive on one side of it. I'm crunchy granola enough that I'm not so excited about using that on food stuff, but for paper crafting, it's great. So let's see how this works. Go there, you go there. I think I've got it pretty straight. Pretty good. I'm calling that good enough. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to bring in, I went ahead and I stamped some of these Rusties, and now I'm going to color them in. That's Highland Heather and Smoky Slate. Let's see if we decide we need it. Oh, I know. We need a real red. And let's do an Old Olive. Okay. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of scrap here. Yeah, that Highland Heather doesn't look like that, does it? It does not. That's fresh freesia. Okay, I think I'm going to go back to plan A and just use these. So, Smoky Slate. Now, I'm not quite sure what equipment is being used outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it. This is the dark. I never know what's going on outside. I can't really see out from my craft room. I know they ran the street sweeper this morning, but I thought they were gone. So who knows? Oh, this is his little paw here coming around that apple. This is the dark ivory. I'm just gonna get his ears and hold it in his mouth. Now that sounds like a leaf blower. I don't know why. So hopefully it's not too noisy for you guys. It is cool enough here now that I do have my window, my window open for the first time, like, since summer really hit. Okay, so there's one. I don't know you guys if you guys are still with me or not. You're being very quiet. So, yep, lots of coloring today, sorry. Unless you like watching it. Maybe Paula finds it soothing. Ears, mouth, apples, oh, you could barely hear it. Good, I'm glad you could barely hear it outside. I'm never quite sure. And I've noticed on videos that I see on Facebook recently, a lot of them are using the external microphones. You'll see them sitting there holding them in their hands, or they're clipped to their shirts or whatever. And I have an external mic that will attach right to my phone. And I've tried it sometimes, but you guys don't seem to report any particular, and I don't notice when I listen to the playback, any particular difference. So I haven't been bothering. If you have trouble hearing or understanding me, do let me know, and I will look at improving my microphone quality. I know sometimes I get very quiet, just more muttering to myself, I feel, than speaking into the microphone. So you can let me know if you don't hear me. You missed the name of the stamp set. Okay, this is Resourceful Rusty, and this is one of the March online exclusive releases. And I have seen very little with it. I think in large part because it doesn't have dies, it doesn't have, you know, it's not a suite, it's not a bundle. I think it got kind of lost in the run-up to On Stage and the new annual catalog premiere stuff. But, well, like I said, I'm a sucker for cute critters, and my youngest offspring adores squirrels, so I got it. So the reason I pulled out those Highland Heather and other purple blends at the beginning was I was thinking about going all around the outlines and in these white spaces between images here with the Highland Heather, because I'm going to fussy cut these out. And I was thinking that it'd be nice to not have the white necessarily, but I don't like, even though Stampin' Up's got great color coordination, just wasn't doing what I wanted there. So little bits of this, I am going to come through and do a little more of the dark, just to add a little bit of shadowing a few places. Not a lot, because probably not worth a whole lot of effort, but we'll do some, just to help some of these body parts stand out from each other. And I'm thinking here about lightening up a little bit of that. I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to see how it goes, and I can always come back and add more. Now, those are going to be on the outside. I'm going to let those sit for a minute. And then on the inside of the card, I've got this one that says you can do it. So I think they're going to go like this, where that's the first one, trying to juggle. They fall down, picking them up. Next to that one is going to be, don't give up, you've got this. And then inside, you can do it, and he's shoving them all in his mouth. You know, be resourceful, however you can get it done. So let's go ahead and color in this inside one. And I'm making this for Nick because they're doing an awesome job navigating university classes and life. Their service dog, assistance dog, Bo, was playing in the park on Sunday and strained their front shoulder just a tiny bit. So he's been kind of on house rest this week. And, you know, every little challenge becomes a big challenge with all the stuff Nick deals with. So I just thought a little card for some encouragement. Because really, Glenn and I were just saying that it used to be if they woke up and were having a rough morning, they would just pull the covers up and call it quits on the day. And they're really, really doing a nice job of working on strategies to recover and get on with their day. And I did point that out to them yesterday when Tuesday was proving as challenging as Monday. And that they should be proud of themselves, and we definitely were. So I just thought this would kind of reinforce that. And again, it's squirrels. They love squirrels. Let's get a little bit of see, I like that, just a little bit of lightening there. Just adds a little bit of contrast, a little bit of texture. I'm adding some to the cheeks. I don't really want to do like blush cheeks, but just, it adds a little contour, I think. Okay, so we're gonna move those aside. That is gonna get layered onto this piece of gorgeous grape. And put on the inside of the card. There you go. And now I'm going to fussy cut these. If you're watching on replay, I've probably taken the time, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm probably have taken the time to go through and speed this up, all the cutting, because it's going to be a lot. Now, I probably told you this last week, but I went to my local farmer's market, one that has a knife and scissors sharpening service, and it had been a couple years, and I got my paper snips sharpened, and they weren't bad before, but oh my goodness, they are fantastic now. And if you don't know the trick about basically keeping your scissors steady and turning the paper, that's a big game changer. Just do slow, steady cuts for the most part. And there's one done. So I'm going to be quiet while I do these next two, and they will be speeded up on the replay on YouTube. There we go. Okay, let me get rid of all of this. I'm going to bring this in. Now, so that one's going to go on there. And I think I'm going to do a little more trimming right up in there. And there, I'm liking that. I'm going to do a little bit of trimming on that. I'm not quite sure how yet. This is really just little nitpicky stuff. Gladys, I saw you commented about getting your snips sharpened. What was it? It was $10 Australian for each pair. I've got multiple pairs because I use them in classes. And I think it's every 2-3 years with heavy use. I think it's a great investment. It's less than half the cost of a new pair. They're not broken. They just get a little dull because paper's hard on blades. So this, I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to try fussy cutting it because it's got kind of an organic shape. This little plaid bit that's behind there, I stamped that in Highland Heather, and I stamped off once. And it's a stamp in the set right there. And I just thought it was adding a little color. This is a plaid. It's a very different plaid, but I just thought it was kind of fun to kind of put a little color and something behind. Yeah, I don't know if that's better than, I would have trimmed down the rectangle anyway, but I don't know if that's better than the rectangle. We're going to go with that. So we're going to put some dimensionals back here. Let's see what I got here. Yeah, I stamped it twice. Here's one where I did it full strength, and I just thought it was too dark with the black on it. So that just gives it a little color there. And yep, I've got some minis. You could cut down big ones if you don't have minis. You could use edges. There we go. Now, the question is it don't give up, you've got this, so you're picking up the apples again? Or is it picking up the apples again, and while you're doing that, you're getting cheered on? What do you think? Left or right? I'm not seeing a response. So I'm just going for it. There we go. Do we think we need... I'm glad you like left, Gladys. Let's see what we got here. Who else is excited that these purple fine shimmer gems are continuing? continuing. That's an option. I don't think we want to add a totally new color. Oh, but maybe. Basic gray and smoky slate pearls. Those might be good. Yes, but how? This is always my question. How to do these? I got plenty of these to use up. So there we go. I'm going to call that complete. There's the outside. There's the inside. I think that's pretty fun. Used up a little bit of my designer series paper. Blending the old with the new. I hope that inspires you to try some of that. I hope you go and give justcrafts.com. Take a look at all of her templates. She's got hundreds of templates on there, I think. I think many of them are available, most of them, all of them are available to download individually for free. I think she's got some nicely priced bundles on her Etsy store. If you decide you're into it, it may be worth investing a little bit of money. You know, all the Stampin' business coaches say, why would you send somebody to somebody else's website? Again, that's me. I found something that I think is really useful, and so I'm going to share it with you. That's where to get it. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I don't think you should have to either. So if that's helpful to you, enjoy it, and I hope you will come back and see me next week, same time, same place. I think we still have one more week before our clocks change here in Australia. If you need me in the meantime or want to see anything that I do, nancysniftynotes.com. This card will be up on the very next blog post, and there are links to all of my resources there. And my email is nancy@nancysniftynotes.com. Feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns anytime, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.